welcome again to another episode of the BrownBoy Podcast. Here I am, episode 8, again with a returning guest. I'm happy for him to be beside me, FunnyFrancis himself.
We're going to add that in the editing, innit? Well, I'm clapping for myself, innit? But, it's your brother FunnyFrancis, obviously. I'm appreciative of, obviously, Junaid BrownBoyBodybuilder, the YouTube channel, adding me back onto the podcasting for a second time. Obviously, if you've seen the first one, shout out to you. If you ain't seen it, he's gonna add a thing on my right or left hand side in the sky. Yeah, you click that and watch it. Yeah, but yeah, man, it's good to be back, man. What's new? What are you telling me?
Yeah, good, man. Like I said, trying to get on these regular videos and get the most out of life. Ultimately, for me at the moment, the update is about being versed on all fronts in life, not just one area or another, but trying to be integrated in your whole life. But enough about me. I speak a lot on the camera. Give us an update. What's been going on since we last seen you?
Boy, we've been balancing life responsibilities with the social responsibilities, you know, because obviously, as an entertainer, as a comedian, as a social influencer, it's my duty to make people feel happy. So when I give you joy, that gives me joy, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So with me recently, it's been more of a juggling act, because obviously the YouTube's popping off. Obviously, we're on about 56,000 subscribers now.
Wow, so you've gone up about 8,000 in a week, almost.
Yeah, man. Wow. There's one video, Can You Speak Jamaican, episode 7. That's blew up. That's on like nearly 1.4 million views, so obviously...
So make sure you check that out, because I want that on 2 million views.
Yeah, inshallah, soon, God willing, yeah. And yeah, man, obviously, it's good to see that people actually appreciate the effort I put in to give them what they deserve, which is happiness, you know what I mean? So
what's been going on outside the YouTube thing? So obviously we know that you do your content, you're quite established now on YouTube. What's been going on outside of YouTube? But yeah, ultimately, what's been going on outside of YouTube and just your life in general? Just give a little brief overview.
Boy, outside my life in general, well, I've been applying for different jobs recently, because obviously you know how I work, innit? Obviously, I ain't gonna bait out my thing too tough, innit? Yeah. But obviously, we're just trying to elevate, you know. So we're not looking to stay in one position for too long. So recently, I've been applying for different jobs, you know. Obviously, I'm looking to buy a yard and them things there. So as you already know from the history and that. And yeah, man, in my life, really, we're just trying to keep steady and maintain pace, really. That's what we've been trying to do, really.
Is it hard to kind of juggle both the YouTube thing and the work? 'Cause I know you said to me earlier how, in regards to YouTube, you don't force out the videos anymore. It's not a chore. Yeah. So is it hard? How does the balance go on in your life?
I think the balance has become easier due to the fact that I don't take this on top of my head as like this. Like I must create content. Yeah. This needs to come out by this time on this day, otherwise I'm a failure. I don't think like that anymore. And I think within the past year I changed my mindset, and it's become more healthier for me mentally, just to sail more safely, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Trust me.
Much more smoother and stuff. Yeah, no, I hear that, and I think that's important. Ultimately, lately, I've been looking at life and how a lot of us as individuals, we go through life very cautiously. Almost whenever we undertake a certain endeavour, it's almost like we're playing not to lose rather than playing to win. What's your idea on this view that I have right now, and many people have, of being bold in life, going all out, and if you fail, fuck it, at least you gave it your best?
I think Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I got food in my mouth.
Been fed very well today.
I had a little Chinese biscuit in the interval. I think, what you're saying there, a lot of people, they set a subconscious barrier whereby they don't want to try the thing in fear of failure. But in fact, if they did try the thing, and even if they did fail, where they would have left themselves up would have been higher than if they didn't try at all. If that makes sense. So for me now, my word of advice and my perspective on it is, even if the possibility of failure is high, the fact that you try it and wherever you end up, is still a part of your personal development, and it's a positive for you as an individual. Do
you think that because of that you learn a lot of lessons on the way, and that wisdom is invaluable almost in a sense? Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I see it almost.
Trust me.
When I say be bold in life, it almost kind of like, rather when undertaking a certain endeavour, let's say when you did your YouTube thing, many people, myself included, I mean, I started YouTube same time as you, remember, but I didn't continue. Why didn't I continue? Well, the reason I didn't continue was because I was scared of failure. So instead of trying hard to put out something and see what happens, I instead thought, you know what, I'd rather not fail. But that's the problem. people in life, if they worry about not failing, they're never going to succeed. You see
right.
the most successful people, what do they have in common?
Failure. You're right. But the thing is, obviously, amongst most of us, is that we take failure as too much of a negative
it hurts.
stimuli. It does. It can hurt. It does hurt,
no doubt.
And obviously, if you haven't got the mental resolve to really look through the negatives of failing and think on the positives, such as, built in this way, and this way, if you haven't got that capability or mindset, you won't want to do it again. I mean, it's just like the little kid who touches the fire. You ain't going to touch the fire again because the stimuli and what you've learned from that, your classical conditioning shows you that if you touch the fire, it's going to equal this.
Classical,
so you
classical.
You know about Sigmund Freud, eh? Teaching the people.
I definitely think you're right. You learn from your experiences, and I think another thing is like a lot of people they care so much what other people think.
True.
You know, they care so much of what next man thinks when next man's not even thinking about you. He's thinking about himself. He's thinking about how he looks. You know, so I think like it is hard not to care what people think, but it's crucial. Especially what you do, bro. You do this comedy thing and stuff, man. People can take the piss out of you, bro, and like. I'm guessing you've had to develop a kind of like cold shoulder to that almost.
Yeah, you know, in a sense, obviously, just reflecting on what you said there. I remember when I first started this thing in 2017, this YouTube, this comedian thing, this all eyes on me type thing, and I think I was a very in my shell kind of person. But I think what really kept me going was the fact that I knew I had some sort of a talent or some sort of a skill set that I could channel into something such as YouTube or comedy. So having the belief in what I know I can do is what helped me do what I did, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So it's like a it's self-fulfilling prophecy. I propelled myself to do something even though I didn't have the full package as yet.
So how did you deal with the doubts along the way? You know, many people, they go through doubts. I do myself included on certain endeavours in life. How did you learn to deal with them? Was it a case that your success expelled the doubts, or you just had to learn to stay strong when you were doubting yourself?
I think it's a mixture, because a lot of success does get rid of doubt because you're seeing the results of what you're putting in.
Yes.
But then again, a lot of it was my support group around me. Obviously, shout out JBK Films, Justice, one of my main producers, one of the guys who I started this YouTube thing with. He's my videographer and editor. He's a very positive, very humble guy. So when we both went through hard times, because this was a joint enterprise and it still is, he's my brother, yeah. When we went through hard times, we almost carried each other in a sense.
Yes.
Because there'll be times when he would feel down, I'd feel up, or vice versa. And because we bounce off each other, he's that end of the spectrum, I'm that end, and somehow we meet in the middle, which is a good blend. We managed to keep each other in balance, you know.
I think that's why it's crucial in life to have people around you who are kind of going to help you.
Your network is important, man. If you're surrounded by winners or people who believe they're winning, even if they're not, even if they just have the positive aspect that yes, I can win, or even if I'm failing, I'm trying to win, you will naturally be inclined to follow that same kind of path. So that's what I try to surround myself with to achieve that type of thing, you know. So
do you feel like I've been listening to a guy on a podcast lately, and he was talking about in life, the way to a lot of success is building a network of people who are all successful in their own similar journeys, and what they can do is, let's say somebody comes to you and they need help, but you're not able to help them, you can then point them in the direction of somebody else. Let's say for me, for example, I have a client who comes to me and they want to do powerlifting, but I'm not very versed in the strength training, so I send them to an individual who I know is good at that. And it's all about, you know, building this kind of network whereby these individuals are all looking to be the best versions of themselves. They're all looking to help people, and thereby this whole analogy of birds of a feather flock together. Imagine if your circle is those kind of people.
You're right.
This is what I'm trying to build myself, and I kind of feel you are part of that circle already.
Oh, you know, it feels emotional. It feels nice to be included, you know. My thing. My brother, you know. My guy. But yeah, man, like you said, there, birds of a feather do flock together, and I think it's when you set yourself in that mind frame and that zone, it's easier, I should say, to when you come across people in your life who aren't of your mindset or aren't of your goals and objectives in life. It's easier to detect them and push them out of your circle and get them away, because they're acidic. They want to burn into you. You get me? These lot are like pH 17. They're high acidity. You get me? They're not alkaline. They're not neutral. They're acidic, man.
It's like you put a rotten apple next to a group of nice apples.
Spread.
They're all going to go, isn't it?
They're
all going to
go,
go, fam. You get me? That's good. Let's move on to something else now. And this is something me and you actually built our friendship on back in the days of the shopping centre excursions. So, political and the politics. A lot's been going on lately with Brexit, the politics, and this whole, like, obviously voting, which I did not fucking vote, and I don't care to say that because I think it's a lot of nonsense. Let's give your take on this whole thing about politics, this whole Brexit thing. Who did you vote for, if you want to converse that? And just your idea on this whole, really, drama.
Well, firstly, I didn't vote at all because...
My brother, you get me, fam? You must be voted on camera. You gotta fucking follow our little...
I didn't vote just for the pure fact that what these guys and girls in these big houses in Parliament are saying they want to do, or saying that they will do, I have no control over whether or not these guys will do it. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's a history of these people in white collars not doing what they say they're going to do, or not doing it to the full extent. And to me, it's just a drama, really. I mean, focusing on those type of things just takes the attention away from the more meaningful and more serious things in life, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, right now as we're making this video, there's someone homeless on the streets. Right now, if you're not in the United Kingdom, you might not know, but it's around 2 or 3 degrees on the roads at night time right now. Cool. And there's someone right now in a body blanket or on a mattress sleeping on the roads. You get me? Mm-hmm. There's always bigger things in life that we need to consider. These things to me are just trivial. That's why I don't entertain or engage myself in them. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of impetus and a lot of hype around younger people, our age or even younger, 18, 19, getting involved in politics. But do we even know what we're voting for? Mm. That's the thing. You get me? People, you know what I'm saying? I'm even lost for words. Do I even know what I'm voting for, Black?
Do you know what I say, bro? You know, every time when a new Conservative member comes in and is the government or Labour, they promise these like set of manifesto laws that we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So what happens 5 years down the line? Everyone's hating them because they didn't do it. And then this new party comes in and says, we're going to do it for you. They're like, yeah, we'll follow them. And it's a constant cycle and circle and circle and circle. And the other thing that really pisses me off here, I'll tell you now, in a whole country, we are effectively voting for 2 or 3 people to run the country. Out of all these people who run the country, the way the system works is we're voting for 2 or 3 people to run the country.
It's only ever Labour or Conservatives, isn't it?
Really, ultimately. It's like in America, you've got the Republican Democrats, 2
people. Forever.
In a massive country, you're going for 2 people. This is absolute lunacy, bro. That's what I personally think.
But obviously, they made them things from 500 years ago because they know the thing was going to be corrupt at it, so. Only vote for 2 people.
So you speak about this a lot as well. Whenever we speak about the corruption, we're well versed into, let's say, our conspiracy theories. And you also talk about Babylon. I want to know what is Babylon for the viewers, because me and him always talk about things, and whenever we see something we don't like or we see something corrupt, what do we say? We say Babylon.
Babylon.
It's straight up Babylon. So give me an idea of what Babylon is, because
so obviously
we'll tie into what I know about it.
Obviously, we've got the historical aspect of Babylon. Obviously, you see, Babylon will come across many historical books. You'll see it in the Bible. You'll see it in some extracts of the Quran. Obviously, Babylonia was a very glorified city. Went through many wars and all them things there. But the modern day, or the Caribbean perspective, because obviously I'm from a Caribbean background, is Babylon is the bourgeoisie, the head of state. The rich man is the Babylon.
The vocabulary on lock.
You get me? The man who's doing all the corruption, a Babylon that. You get me? And obviously Babylon just does his own rules and follows his own set of guidelines that it's just hypocrisy, basically. Mm-hmm. That's what Babylon is in a sense. Mm. You get me? And obviously Babylon is a transferable word. So you could use Babylon in any circumstance. Like, let's say one of your closest friends is dealing with a madness. You say, yo, stop them Babylon moves there. You get me? Mm. So it's interchangeable.
It's like they've been infiltrated. They've been influenced by the Babylonian people, kind of like, who run the country or whatever. It's like Illuminati. You've heard of them, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that, really, to be honest. Babylonia.
I hope I make it home tonight.
Yeah.
We're
gonna cut this little bit here. Bro, you know what we should do? Sometimes when I say something, ask a few questions. If you have any, ask a few questions that can help me to talk a bit more.
Okay.
You want me to? Only sometimes, but it's going to mainly be about you. But sometimes you can fire it back, yeah, and chat a bit longer about something. We're going to keep talking about the political landscape. Just going to Brexit. So then, like, what about all this? So what about this whole Brexit thing then? Because first of all, the whole country voted to leave the EU. Suddenly they're saying, oh, we've been scammed. Then there's this whole political nonsense, and now we're even the EU again.
You know what it is, yeah, obviously. In 2016, when the referendum kicked in and all them things there, yeah, window XPs like you know, like people didn't know what they were voting for, cuz. Trust me, daddy. Obviously, Farage came and did a little Mazzalina, yeah, whipping in the kitchen like Ads and LD and that man there, yeah. And then he dipped, yeah. People didn't. I personally, yeah. Don't kill me. I think people voted, yeah, because they were sick of the climate. Too many people coming into the country. This notion that, oh, you're taking my job. Oh, this Mazzalina, yeah. I think people voted blindly or through ignorance. Mm-hmm. I don't think they really sat down as a family, sat down with their peers and their loved ones and said, yo, let's think of the future right now. If I vote this, how would it affect my child? What detrimental effect do we have on the climate by putting this, one of the biggest votes in British political history, in effect, in motion? You know what I'm saying?
Let me give you my view, because I actually kind of disagree with what you said in a loving manner, because we are friends. I kind of think this. When the EU referendum happened, it was actually a great moment for this country and the people, because the people stood up and decided that we want to get rid of the centralisation of power. Now, what is the centralisation of power? Centralisation of power is exactly. So the less people that control the power, that means they are more in control because they have more power. If you have loads of people controlling power, that means it's too dispersed. But the more centralised, the more power they have. So I feel, as a people, we were sick of it, and we were slowly getting. You know what? We were gaining back some of our freedom. A lot of our freedom's been taken. We were gaining some of that back. So we voted to leave. And of course, what happened then? Propaganda.com, because they started throwing things out. Brexit this, Brexit that. And look, Brexit or not Brexit, it's both bullshit anyway, based on what's happened now. However, when it first started, as with the Scottish independence, it was a move by the people for more freedom.
Yeah, you're right.
And I kind of think now it's turned into a case of, it's just such a drama that people really don't give a shit anymore. It's also more so like an energy of, again, is it this? It's like a draining kind of energy. I think that's how they want it to be.
Do you feel if there was another referendum, another vote on the same subject, that we'd have the same result? Well, after, because obviously the past 3 years now have been what I call the hindsight years. You've potentially seen an inch of what would happen if this actually fully went through. Yeah. So if they had another vote, what do you think would happen?
Well, do you know what? We could say that the vote they've already had was the election. So that was almost like an indication of what people want for Brexit. And they overwhelmingly said that we still want Brexit. However, I do think this, call me the cynical Junaid or whatever you want to call me, I do think if there was another Brexit referendum, people would vote to stay. And I believe that vote would be rigged. Because of the way things are going, I believe that vote would be rigged.
Oy.
Yes, I believe that. So that's the politics.
Go on, give me some substance to why you believe that then.
I kind of feel like the way it's gone, if you look at what's happened since the referendum, how we've been bombarded with negative propaganda, almost every media outlet has given us the negative perspective of what will happen when Brexit occurs. There has hardly ever been any positives, and if there has been positives, they've been labelled as racist because they're saying, oh, we get the immigrants out. But the real Brexit, benefits were ultimately this: lack of centralisation of power, more power for the people. So the reason I think it will be ultimately rigged is because it's the way it's gone. If you look at the way it's going, that's the way it's gone.
I hear that. And, who? Sorry to interrupt you. Who's the ultimate villain, if there is one, in this story? Is it David Cameron for starting his referendum and leaving? Is it Farage for spreading his modus operandi? Or who is the ultimate villain here? And if there isn't, who's the ultimate saviour here?
Well, the problem is, bro, these individuals who we just mentioned, Cameron, Farage, fucking Theresa May, they are just puppets, fam. You know when you go into Burger King, yeah? You know you see the geezer at the counter, innit, and he's going to give you the burger. He ain't the geezer that runs the whole Burger King corporation, is he? Who is he? He is just a clerk, fam.
Clerk?
he is just a clerk, a geezer who serves you the burger, The real people in control are way behind the scenes. So these people are merely puppets, okay, who are just on the surface acting out the orders that are given from above. Then you might ask, who's above? Well, that's a whole topic for another day because I don't even know myself. Call it Illuminati, call it Anunnaki, call it reptilians, call it aliens, call it fucking AI. It's a host of things. Call it us, because we've allowed it to happen. And ultimately, yes, call it Babylon. And that's where the whole conversation comes full circle.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Comes full circle.
You know, just quickly diverging. You know, that is a big. When you think of it, we actually do not know who's running the show because it's not Parliament, blood. I don't believe so. It's something deeper than Parliament. It's something deeper than Congress. It's something deeper than the Kremlin. It's something deeper than the European Parliament that's running the show right now. I even believe, it could even be just some little average man wearing a checkered shirt on a Sunday, walking down the street with his dog named Billy Joe. That's how deep this thing can be, you know. It's all a matter of who knows what and how they can influence with what they know. That's what I think.
You know what? I think that's a really wise word. I want to think. Do you reckon, like, behind the scenes, all these countries are actually on the same side? You know, you see like Iran against America, Russia against America, Russia against China. Do you think deep behind the scenes, like, you know, like the Burger King analogy, do you reckon they're all on the same team in some way?
If we break it down, we're all on the same team due to the fact that we're all human. I mean, if we put it this way, let's say extraterrestrial life did exist. Humans as a race would have to come together and put their grievances aside.
Yes. So
Trump and the little supreme leader from Iran with the big beard, would have to be side and side on the battlefield to fight this alien thing like Independence Day 1998. So these lot would have to work together. So on the underlying aspect, the only thing we have in common is the humanism in us.
The human race.
Yeah, but at the same time, obviously, the power of the brain and the mind and the fact that people develop emotive things that they want to channel, such as hatred or other things, makes us develop a gradual divide.
Do you reckon those feelings they develop of hatred and whatever, are those fed into them? Because you know, you see kids when they're younger, they don't hate each other, do they? You see a Chinese kid, see an American kid, they'll hug each other, they'll do whatever they got to do. But for some reason, when we get older, it's almost like a division occurs. Even I can see it in my group of friends or family, or even myself. We see a person from another place, and it's just not the same. Like they're not like us. That's the word I hear. They're not like us.
You know what it is, It's all down to conditioning, isn't it? Yeah. Because I don't know. Here's one thing. Some people say children, like children, are born as like, let's say they committed a terrible crime. People say children, they have the innate tendencies before they actually did what they did. On the other hand,
the innate tendency to do it.
The innate tendencies, such as the traits of, this guy had the traits when he was 5, he was going to become a mass murderer.
Right, okay.
Those type of things, just to clarify.
And were they born with that?
Yeah, some people say.
Okay.
But on the flip side, some people say a child is born as a blank canvas.
Yes.
That is painted upon, which is what I generally believe. I don't believe a child is born with traits. I believe they develop traits.
I'll give you another interesting spin on that. Potentially, there's a theory which many people believe. I kind of am an advocate as well of past lives. So many of us believe that as individuals, we've all had lives before as a physical body, and when we are born into a certain body, it's based on our past karma, similar to like the Buddhist, Hindu kind of philosophy, Eastern philosophy. Our past karma is what shapes our life. So let's say we committed a murder in our last life. Because I've also often thought this, like if I did something bad in this life, and there's no such thing as karma in this life, I can't just get away with it. Like, I don't believe in heaven and hell in a conventional sense, okay? So I can't just get away with it. Surely there'll be something else. The past life kind of thing kind of makes sense, because what happens is when you're born, you're carrying through that karma. So let's say this kid, he's 5 and he becomes a murderer like when he's 20. What if this was based on his past life karma and certain decisions he made, also linked in with the environmental factors? What do you think about that?
Boy, that's a deep one there, I mean, you're right in the sense that you can't just take the yin and not get the yin. You can't just take out of the stratosphere and not expect something to have a reaction to your action, kind of thing. So in a sense, I agree with that. But on a deeper level now, that's deeper than me right now,
You're a deep guy, bro.
But boy, that's deeper than me right now, We're gonna have to cut that one for.
You can fire me back, G. That's how you do it.
Huh?
You can fire me back and ask me what I think. Because ultimately, bruv, guess the answer you just given is the answer that is actually the answer, I think. Because ultimately we don't actually know. These are all potential theories. Where I got this from was a website called, what was it called? truthcontest.com, bro. Everyone check it out. I'll plug it in the link below. It had so much information in there, but I thought I knew the meaning of life. And still to this day, a lot of what it says was so simple, it made so much sense. That we evolved from animals, effectively, to where we've been killed multiple times. And obviously when we're born, we have like, what's it called, that haze, amnesia, I think, we don't remember. So we don't remember, we keep evolving. Unless we commit a murder, we're back at the bottom, bro, back to like an ant or bacteria or back to something really low, because we fucked up our chance. Right now we have a chance, we have the ability to ascend to the next stage of, like a spiritual body.
What theory is that?
Well, the thing is, bro, the fact that it's called a theory is what can discredit it. I kind of feel it's almost, if you want me to term what it is, it's more like reincarnation.
Okay.
But not in the traditional sense. People mess up a lot of things in life. They think, oh, okay, I'm going to come back as a dog or as a cat before, and it's so they use logic with it, but they use logic in a dumb way. And I feel like life is so intricate and so beautiful that it knows the answers. And deep down, we do know the answers. We have just forgotten. We need to remember ultimately.
I hear that.
And that ties into my next kind of topic. Religion and spirituality. What are your beliefs regarding that? Because we've had many conversations about this. You've seen me go from this religion to that. I've seen you being quite neutral, which I liked. You've been very grounded in regards to religion.
Obviously, my perspective.
Give us your background as well.
Obviously, for me now, I've obviously coming from the Caribbean, with my family all coming from the Caribbean. They're predominantly.
Coming from the Caribbean, you're funny, man.
Leave it in there, man. They're coming from the Caribbean. They're predominantly Christian, I'm a Catholic or one of them denominations. Yeah. Another thing, one thing I don't understand yet. Sorry to divulge again. Christianity as an umbrella. Why is there like 50 different factions of one thing?
It's the same with Islam, bro.
I don't get it, bro.
It's because
why has Islam got bear? I thought it was just Sunni and Shiite.
No, Islam got bear, bro.
How many?
They got Sunni, Shia, Ahmadiyya. They got loads of these different subsects as
well.
Yeah. The thing is, because
I don't get it, man.
Division. It goes back to that whole thing we spoke about.
So
earlier.
do you think? Yeah. Let's go back to the source of the thing. We'll get back to your question.
Yeah.
Keep it in the back of your head. You're gonna ask me again because I'm gonna forget. Let's go back to the thing. Let's say many thousands of years ago when these religions say they originated. Yeah. Do you think there was actually just one truth before mankind got their hands on it, or do you think a part of the destiny was the destiny?
Right. That's an interesting question. I kind of think that if you look deeper into each religion, they all kind of say the same thing. They all kind of say the core message behind all the customs, like wear hijab or bloody wear shawaka, even though that's not one, but like all these little small customs, yeah. People are going to be looking at me like, hey, Muslims are not supposed to wear shawaka. I know, but it's an example, innit? So behind all these little small customs, what I call petty trials, okay?
Yeah.
The core message of each religion is the same. Love one another, do good to your neighbour, be a good person. And I feel like we've divulged it as individuals. So like, when I talk about up there, I kind of talk about non-human entities.
Yeah.
Let's say aliens, AI, but also, not just up there, down here, bro, underground, the hollow earth. But let's get back to before I confuse you with all these crazy theories, let's get back to the initial question we were speaking about, religion. So you said you came from a Catholic background,
yes.
Jamaican.
Yeah, I came back from a Catholic background, predominantly Jamaican, and obviously when I was young, up to probably about 6 or 7, my parents guided me to go to church. Mm-hmm. It wasn't an optional thing. So I grew up with the mindset of Christianity was the thing that I was brought up in. So that might be something I'd potentially keep up. But then when I reached adulthood now and did my research into the thing, like I expressed to you earlier, with all the different factions that come under the umbrella term of Christianity, to me, it just didn't make sense. And the fact that it didn't make sense made me want to steer away from Christianity as a religion sense and more go to the human base of the way of life. Obviously incorporating the core principles of being a human, such as things that you can extract from different religions, such as, like you said, treating other people how you want to be treated, showing love, trying to help the community around you. I mean, one thing that really had an effect on me in my adolescence that I still remember today, when I went to secondary school, my humanities teacher said, "You don't worry about what you should be and what you shouldn't be. As long as you treat people correctly and you have a clean heart, that's your religion.
That's real deep talk.
And ever since that day, I said, yo, my man, Mr. Smith, by the way, I said, yo, he's right. I don't need to attach a label to myself. As long as I know what I'm doing is right, and I'm creating a positivity and helping people, I don't need to be a part of any denomination. Yes. It's not a be all or end all, you know. And from there on in, and obviously before that anyway, because I've always been a good person. I mean, but even more since that point onwards, when he told me that, I just thought, yo, being a part of a religion or not being a part of a religion will not determine who you are as a person. Only you can determine who you are.
Yes.
And the only way you can determine who you are is through your actions and who you actually are. If you are a bad person, you could be a part of 10 different denominations. The badness in you will still come out.
So do you believe in a God then, like, you know, ultimately like a creator?
Here's the bit that you might put in the comment section and say, oh, this guy's confused, because I do believe there is an ultimate creator, of some sense. But the denominations I don't believe, because the majority of religions say there's one God. So if that's the case, how's there 101 names? You know what I mean?
99 names when it comes to Islam.
Trust me.
And I think also, like, as humans, and I might get a lot of stick for this, I think man is made in God's image, to take the Christian term. We are all part of God, and I feel like there is one God, but it's not just a being in the sky, like to anthropomorphize God.
No.
It is a source. It is like a centrality, and almost everything is part of that source because it makes up that source. But you know, let's move on. It's a new year, of course, 2020. I've put out a few videos about this. What are your visions for the year ahead for 2020? Like, where do you want to go? Just generally, like, just you as an individual to make you happy. Not necessarily your success, you in your heart, and also what you kind of learned from 2019, what you want to do better in 2020 based on what happened in 2019.
I think for me now, obviously 2019 going into 2020 now, what I need to maintain is not caring what people think, which by doing so has been very profitable and positive for me. I mean, in a sense, doing what I want to do instead of what society wants me to do has really personally developed me in a positive way. Like in the beginning of the podcast, I mentioned not posting things under pressure. I mean, all these type of things that I've done in 2019, carrying it into 2020, have all created a more positive yin inside me, and mentally as well. So those are the type of things there that I would want to bring from 2019 to 2020. But also there's flaws in me as a person that I've realised. Obviously, physically, I ain't been going gym as much as I used to. So I ain't going to be in denial. I'm willing to face my demons. Obviously, that's something I need to pattern up in 2020. I mean, the good thing about me as a person is I'm quick to understand where I'm going wrong. And a lot of the big hurdles in self-development and self-improvement is understanding where you're slacking, where you're going wrong.
Yes.
Now, for me, I'm happy to be openly upfront and say, yo, I'm not doing this, I should be doing this, blah, blah, blah. I ain't going to shy away from it. But then again, at the same time, if you contrast me saying this to 2 years ago, I would probably be in denial and not tell you that. Or not tell the viewers that, because this is going out to a long audience. You know what I mean? So, obviously, being out in the open and being willing to express where I'm going wrong and express my flaws is really something that I really think that going into 2020 now is really going to help in the long run. So,
because people might suffer from similar things to you, and if you're giving that out, then you can help them with it.
Yeah, of course. It just goes to show that if you're watching this right now, big man, and you ain't been gym in a couple of days and couple of years, just be honest with yourself and do it. If there's something you ain't been doing that you know you was doing before, or you've never done that you feel you should be doing, look yourself in the mirror, be honest with yourself, and do it. Because at the end of the day, the person who's laughing at you isn't the person who's with you, he's the person who's against you. So, like I mentioned earlier with your social circles and surrounding yourself with flocks of a feather, all your chickens need to come from KFC. No, they can't be coming from Dixie Chicken. They all need to come from one outlet. So you will all succeed together.
And I think ultimately for the year, from my point of view as well, learn from what happened in 2019 and make it right in 2020. If you made some mistakes in 2019 and they hurt you, you know what? Feel that pain. It's not about trying to, like you said, be in denial. It's not about that. Yeah, it's about, you know what? Sometimes the pain pushes you so much that you make a change and you do something that you needed to do. And guess what? afterwards you'll look back and you'll be happy that you did it.
Trust me. Let me ask you a question now, yeah, Bob. What was your biggest highlight of 2019? And also, what would you want to be your biggest highlight of 2020?
Okay, it's a big one. Well, so I'd say my biggest highlight of 2019 was...
It could be personally or something you've experienced, something you've seen, or something that's happened in the world.
I'll tell you, it's more so a collection of events. But my biggest thing of 2019 was changing and switching things up to such a degree where I don't know what's going to happen next. So I'm a very routine habit-like individual. And for example, when I did my diet in the summer, I became so routine that it sent me to the brink of, really wanted to end it. Let's be honest, bro. I did not want to live. I kind of did not have a meaningful life other than gym. And then couple that with getting injured, what have I got left, bruv? What have I got left? So ultimately, my lesson from 2019 and what I learned and what was a highlight was being able to, in the darkest moments when it's all going wrong, pick yourself up and completely change direction. And that direction change opens up life to such a degree you cannot believe it. You become a new person. Suddenly your confidence is back. I got back on the YouTube thing. I got back on the podcasting. I started chatting to you. I opened up and I became me again. But me transformed. And for 2020 going forward, I want more transformations. I want more dark moments. I want more hard times. And I want more transformations because that is the only way to grow. Like they say, a man, if he has a comfortable life, it is no life at all. But a man who is always constantly challenged, he is the man of the hour, he is the man of the year. And that is ultimately what I want for 2020. And ultimately, when it gets too comfortable, it's time to switch shit up. Today, I could have easily told you, I don't want to do this, let's go eat. But I needed to do something challenging. And it's not even that challenging once it's being done. Do you get what I'm saying?
I'm hearing that. Sorry to interrupt you. Let me cut on something there. Obviously, you mentioned being too comfortable. Is it a bad thing to be too comfortable?
For me, yes. Because as a man, I need to be challenged and constantly stimulated. Now, what I mean by comfort is not having life in order. Life in order is a good thing. Life in order, having all your stuff in order is a good thing. But if life is too easy, I'm doing the same things every day, and I've got a nice little job, I've got a little bit of money coming in, and I'm content. What am I still challenging myself? Let's say I go to the gym and I'm trying to build muscle, and I just stop. I want to keep lifting the same weights now. It gets boring, bruv. As with anything, I want to keep growing and keep learning. And once I've done something in a certain avenue and I've learned enough, it's time to move on to something else based on my inner calling. Based on what life
presents. There's something drawing you.
Yes.
To do something.
I don't go and look for it. Oh, let's go fucking drive a lorry.
It's
now,
an attraction. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. You're right. So that is ultimately what it means. Keep switching things up. Keep life bold. Bro, if I wanted to go travelling tomorrow and it really was a calling, I should throw everything out and do it. Because I know that is the way to live. You live on the edge. You live, so you follow your heart.
Do you value impulsive actions rather than intuition?
So I don't value impulsive in the sense of recklessness.
Like the example you just mentioned.
Okay, so
let's say you was in a 30 grand job a year.
Yeah.
And you had a wife and kids and expectations and responsibilities. Obviously, the calling that you mentioned about just quitting everything and then going travelling tomorrow.
Okay, right.
Is that not a reckless action?
This is how I'd see it. It's a reckless action if the calling came and I did it straight away.
Okay.
However, if the calling came and it kept coming and coming and coming,
like this is your destiny now.
Then it's something that needs to be done. You can't just say, okay, cool, I'm just see you later, darling. See you later, son. I'm going to fucking Gambia. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if it's something that grinds on me, which has happened many times this year, if it grinds on me, the YouTube thing, getting back on the blogs, fucking being me, having my hair, get my ponytail cut off. You get me? Getting that thing cut off. I've had a ponytail up until fucking July. Small things like that, when it grinds on me and it's telling me to make a call, like going to uni for example, that was a calling and it grinded and it came over years and before you know it, bam, it happened. So it's more so that. So not being reckless, but being aware that you may have to make a lot of sacrifices which may hurt at times in life, but don't worry, if you do, you will be happy and your heart will be followed. And it's not like I'm going to abandon my wife and kids, I will support them financially because I have a commitment. But if they don't want to come, I have to go, and if it's my calling, I have to go, and I don't mind what stick I get for that because that is what I truly believe in at this moment.
Boy, you don't mind. So if your child grows to resent you because you left their life when they were 5 years old to go Gambia, you wouldn't feel some type of way, blood?
I mean,
I'd feel bad, big man.
I mean, I wouldn't want it to go that way. Let's be honest, I wouldn't want it to happen that way. But if it did, I'd have to honour it, though. As a man, I stick by my actions. I stick by my decisions. So if I do it, I own it, bro. Yes, I've done it, and it could be something which I learned was wrong. But that's the best way to learn, isn't it? In some senses.
You have to do the thing to know what will actually happen.
You have to do the thing to learn it. So, yeah, ultimately, make 2020 like that. Keep learning. I want to keep growing as an individual, man. And fucking get big. Get the YouTube thing going, like, for pleasure, like I'm doing now. Enjoying it. And one thing, spending more time with other people, man. I may have lost a bit of my spirituality recently because I was too hippie, I would say. Okay?
What do you mean by that?
I was too much into spirituality, what I thought was spirituality.
Is there such a thing as too much? Can you really have too much?
Well, look at the hippies, bro, who do drugs and do psychedelic drugs.
Well, Jimi Hendrix, yeah?
Yeah, you know, like you see these people in like Glastonbury, so they do psychedelic drugs and they're constantly, they believe like life's just going to happen for them. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to get money. I don't need to do anything. So that could be taking it too far because you're believing in reality, but are you taking action? I can't build muscle by going sitting here.
No, you can't.
I have to take action. No matter how much I believe I'm going to build muscle, it will not happen until I take action.
But then again, obviously, the believing and the actual happening is you're having two opposites colliding. You have the spiritual or the conscious or subconscious against the actual physical and reality. Yeah. So obviously now, do you feel that there is any possibility within life, as we know it, for the psychological or conscious or subconscious to have an effect on the physical in a way that it improves the physical?
Yes, definitely. And I think that's what the meaning of life is ultimately, a merging of the two, because it's a unison.
But I'm talking about without you putting in any effort for the physical though.
I think,
like you mentioned, you ain't gonna gain muscle by sitting here.
Well, if you want to be
specific, is there circumstances where you can put your mind to it, and without you putting in any effort, boom, the thing's there? Is there such a thing, or is that just like, or is that something people would call luck or a fluke or?
Personally, I think that's a pipe dream, and I don't think that's possible to be able to just sit there and dream it. Maybe there's some things you can do, like, I can sit here and visualise somebody coming in the car when they come.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe small things like that. But, you know, I think that's a pipe dream, and I think that's what's fucked me up as well when I was from 17 to 22, because I believed that, bro. I was into that life, and I didn't do a lot of things, because I thought it would fall on my plate.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, yeah, it's a bit of inner experience, but so far I haven't seen it, so I can't say. Do you know what I'm saying? What do you think?
Bro, it's gas, blood. You can't do it, fam.
You get me?
It's gas, fam. You can't. Both elements need a level of your input. So if you're consciously or subconsciously thinking of something that you want to achieve or you want to happen, you have to physically push the thing to happen, innit? So,
yeah, true. So you have to
but obviously, from different perspectives, different types of backgrounds and spiritual and religious beliefs, some people actually believe, such as the Buddhists. Yeah, they believe a lot of mental power is the key to physical enlightenment.
Yeah, I do think there's something special in that. Though.
So,
I do think
man, that's why I asked you, because obviously there's different perspectives to the thing.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, we've had some good conversations here today.
Yeah, man, it's been good. I hope you enjoyed the thing,
ladies and gentlemen. We're going to wrap it up here because we don't want to keep you too long, and we're going to get him on again because he is a guest which we speak so openly about things. Before we go, I just want you to give a little message to people who are watching. It's a new year. Give them a little New Year message or anything you want to say about yourself, your channel, any plugs you want to give. The floor is yours, my friend.
My message is, forget all this New Year's resolution bollocks, You be you, and all you need to do, if you need to do it, is make slight adjustments to who you are. Never change who you are, just make slight adjustments. And what I mean by adjustments are improvements. Never go backwards. And even if you do take 2 steps backwards, understand the 2 steps backwards and understand how you can make 1 step forward. Never believe it's a bad thing to go backwards, because it's not, I never think it's a good thing to be always going forwards, because sometimes you're being led astray. Hence why you're going forward so quickly, you're going forwards in a direction you didn't think you'd go in. So my overall message is, be happy, maintain the things that are making you happy, and get rid of negativity in your life. For 2020, you don't need to be surrounded by negative people who are always sucking the energy with bad comments and things like, oh, you can't do this. Oh, really? I wonder what would happen if you did that. Those kind of, people with those type of comments, If you want to try a new venture in life, try it. I mean, like we said earlier, like me and Justice said earlier, me and Janaid, what am I talking about, Justice? Shout out my brother JDK and Justice. What me and Janaid said earlier, even if you do fail, just picture where you end up at compared to if you didn't try at all. Yes. You're bound to receive positives from just trying the thing. So, as a whole, maintain happiness, and if you haven't got happiness, seek happiness. And yeah, man. One last thing though, obviously, you can't save the world, so get that out of your mind. But what you save yourself. But what I was gonna say is, you can't save the world, but what you can do is save your brother next to you, or save your sister next to you, or save the person across the road who needs some type of solace. And in doing so, hopefully, once you've saved them, they can go save someone else. They can go save someone else, and there's a chain reaction of happiness. So, boom, that's me right there. Just be happy, man. Do your thing.
And it's been a pleasure having you on. We're gonna go get some good food now. Hopefully you enjoyed the video.
Some yard man food, Caribbean food, some Dumpling Festival, you know.
Comment,
lamb curry,
highlight me,
rice and peas, you know.
Peace and love.
Yeah, man.